Google Pest Control Marketer. Grow your business like never before. Call 770-993-0004.
Hello, folks. This is Hal Coleman along with Mike Stewart, and welcome to yet another episode of the Pest Control Marketing Podcast and PestControlMarketing.live, the only live streaming internet show in the world that's totally dedicated to helping PCOs and WCOs get more new customers, grow your business, and make more moolah. How's that for an intro, Mike? That about hits the nail on the head, doesn't it?
Yeah, that is a good overview of why we're here. If you're in business and you don't want to grow your business, I question why you're in business.
Yeah, well, some people are just in it to get out of the house, I guess.
I don't know.
But I've got a good topic that's been on my mind that I want to talk about today.
All right.
If you don't mind, we'll just jump right into it.
Well, there's 1,000 little things, so we haven't hit all thousands. So
we haven't hit all 1,000, but this is going to be number 763, I think.
All right, let 763 rip.
And it's something that I heard Dan Kenedy say years ago, and I have put it to the test myself and my clients. I have another client. I'm going to give you an example of putting it to the test, and that is this statement: outrageous marketing yields outrageous results. And speaking of outrageous, you see, I wore my shirt today, Mike, back to back. You know what that means?
Well, that's you're in Georgia, and boy,
Georgia Bulldogs have won back-to-back national championships, and they're trying to do something this year that's totally outrageous. It's never been done in the history of college football, and that is they're trying to win 3 back-to-back championships in a row. So far they're undefeated this season. They were undefeated last season. I think somewhere either the season before that or the season before that is when they lost their last game. If you ask anybody when did the Georgia Bulldogs lose their last game, people struggle because that's how good they've been.
Yeah.
And good Lord willing and a lot of luck, they'll be able to pull off something that nobody's ever done. And even if they don't, they have had a remarkable record-breaking. They've been put into the record books and carved out a place and granted in college football history forever. So I went a little outrageous and wore my rah-rah tailgate shirt, got on my Georgia hat here because I'm all fired up already for this weekend to do some tailgating and watch the game with Mississippi. I'm a little outrageous today.
That's all right.
So we're going to talk about doing things outrageously in your business. Now, if you do something outrageous and it doesn't work, you've got a big flop, but that's okay. You're not going to be successful at everything you do. I'm not successful at everything I do. Mike, you're not successful with everything you do. But we have to learn to accept our failures. As here again, as Dan Kenedy says, learn to fail fast and move on. You have a failure, mark it off, put it behind you, forget about it, and move on. Don't stop and dwell on it and be afraid, I don't want to try anything else because the last thing I tried didn't work. Now I'm gun shy. And that's a problem with the vast majority of human beings is we get burned. We're afraid to get around the fire again after that. We're afraid we're going to get burned again. And that's a really bad anchor to have to carry around with you. Do it fast and move on if it doesn't work. But do it outrageously. Now, I'm going to use as an example, Mike, vehicles. For 15 years now that I've been a full-time, I'm in my 51st year in the pest control industry. When I started out, I had dark hair, but I've been around a long time, and for the last 15 years, and in my 16th year now, of being a full-time coach and mentor, marketing and sales coach for PCOs and WCOs. Had clients from Miami to Washington State, and from upstate New York down to Southern California, and all in between. Had clients in Canada, clients in Australia, and even a small number of clients in the UK. So I found out it's all the same wherever you go. Wherever there are bugs, there are people who want to pay somebody to kill those bugs. And what we do, and no matter what country you live in, no matter what state you live in, we get in our truck or our van and we go out there with our products and our equipment to eliminate pest infestations. And our vehicle is one of the most important marketing tools that we have at our disposal. And I call it a rolling billboard, but some people call it a rolling classroom too. I worked with a client on Monday this week, and we, as a matter of fact, he's in Washington State. And I said, I'm trying to teach him a great sales presentation on how to convert one-time treatments into annual maintenance contracts. It's real easy to do. But his question to me was, how can I get people from one-time treatments to go with the annual maintenance plan? So we talked about that, and I said, what do? You go out there in your vehicle, right? What are you doing when you're in your vehicle? Well, I'm listening to NPR or radio or whatever. And I said, well, you need to, I said, put your phone on record and let me do this sales presentation for you on how to convert one-time treatments into annual contracts. And I will do the presentation for you. And then when you're on your way to the next one-time treatment, I said, you'd be listening to my presentation, and you listen to it over and over again until you can deliver it the way I do, and you won't have any problem converting. So that's one use of that vehicle, is turn it into a learning experience and not just for pleasure. Listen to sales presentations. Listen to things. Don't listen to anything. Just go over, play things in your head to get your game face on before you get to a customer's or a prospect's home. Already know what you're going to say. But the other thing about that vehicle is it's a rolling billboard. Now let's get to what I want. Let's tie it to outrageousness here. I have a client who has about a half a dozen vehicles, and they're real, what we would call clean and neat vehicles. They have a little name of the company on the sides, not very big, and a logo, and they're really neat, clean looking trucks. And so I said, how many times a week or a month do you get a new customer and you ask them, how did you hear about me? And they say, oh, I saw your truck. Your truck is amazing. He said, well, that never really happens. I guess sometimes they see my truck, but, I don't know. I said, well, look, let's just do a test here. He's bought a new truck, and I said, let me help you decorate this truck and design it. So we came up with a design for the truck. It had big bugs on it. It had the name of his company really small, but the words pest control really big, and bold promise, offers of free things. Had a lot of stuff on the side of this truck, and he was very reluctant. He said, that just goes against my natural inclinations. He said, I've always been told that that's a bad thing to do, that they say you want to have it clean and neat. I said, well, I don't know who they is. I keep hearing about they. they say this and they say that, but generally I find out they are not correct. And I said, let me just help you. Let's design this. I said, we're going to drive your sign guy, the one that, or girl, whoever does your vehicles. I said, we're going to drive them crazy. We're going to give them an ulcer because we're going to give them a lot of stuff to do. And they're going to send you the proofs, and you're going to send them to me, and I'm going to make some edits, and maybe they'll get it close to what we asked for, but probably not. But we went back and forth together and with his sign people several times. Finally got this thing looking the way I liked it. It was outrageous, all right. It was outrageous. And he got it done and put it on the road. And that's been a few weeks back. Well, it's been a couple of months ago, I guess. And when I asked him about it now during our coaching sessions, I said, how's that outrageous vehicle working? And he just chuckles. He said, it's amazing, Hal. He said, it's amazing. He said, every time I stop at a traffic light, I look over and people are looking at my truck. He said they're giving me thumbs up, or the kids are pointing at it and the parents are pointing at it and they're nodding their heads. They give me the high sign. He said if I stop at the gas pumps, people mention my truck. He said they love this truck. He said I'm amazed by that. So his truck has started right out of the gate making him money and getting him noticed. And you and I had another client a few years ago over in Birmingham, Alabama, who was a fireman, and he had a part-time pest control little route, and he wanted to become a full-time pest control guy and retire from the fire department. He hired us to help him grow his business, and now I think he's got 7 or 8 or more trucks on the road full-time. But we designed his truck, and it was outrageous, and he said, and he had one truck at the time. And he said, it's amazing. He said, I drive that thing around and people tell me, they say, I see your trucks all over town. I see your trucks all over town. He said, I only have one truck. But that just shows you what an impression it made on people. They saw that truck and they never forgot it. And they see it a second time and they think he's got trucks all over town. He only had one truck. It's amazing how this works. And so being outrageous is something that goes against the grain of most people's thinking and their logical thinking. But outrageous marketing will always bring you outrageous results. Do things in a big way. Throw some input in here, Mike. I know you're thinking right along the same lines I am. Can't hear you.
I muted my microphone so I wouldn't cough on you. I apologize about that.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm going to do something here that kind of breaks the rule of podcasting. So we're going to have to see how descriptive you are, because you were talking about one our good buddy over in Birmingham, Pest Control, and I put up the truck here so that we could talk about it. And of course, if you're listening to the podcast, go to the YouTube channel or go to pestcontrolmarketing.live and you'll be able to watch this video. But let's talk about the elements. I've got the truck up there, a picture of it. And of course, that is an outrageous set of colors. He's got red, white, and black. So you see how I'm describing what I'm seeing?
Red and black is awesome. Let me tell you that. That's the bulldog color. Red and black. I wonder where we came up with that idea.
Well, I know, but why don't you talk about? I'm going to tell you what I see that's outrageous about this truck. And in fact, I know some comments I've heard from people over the years that we got to dispel those myths. But if you were to see the picture of this truck, for those of you on the podcast, and like I said, if you want to go see the picture of this truck to get an inspiration, go to our TV channel on YouTube. Or more importantly, go to pestcontrolmarketing.live and you'll be able to run up to this part and look at the truck. But he's got a mouse, a spider, a horn, looks like a yellow jacket, a roach, a mosquito, and what's that bug on the front of the truck there, Hal?
I'm glad you asked that question because this is very important, the insect, the pests that we put on the side of this truck. Now, the one on the front is a termite.
Okay.
And he really wanted to put a termite on there because he's in the termite business. And that termite with those pinchers and all looks rather formidable. But the bottom line is the average person doesn't have a clue what that bug is.
Well, see, I didn't.
I know you didn't. And you're like the average person. You don't know what that is. So it's kind of irrelevant. It's a bug.
Well, I'll tell you something. Go ahead.
So we went with that one because he wanted to put it on there. But let's look at the others. Now, what does that rat, or you can call it a rat or a mouse there, but it's a rat. The rat, the black widow spider, the yellow jacket, the cockroach, and the mosquito. What do all those have in common besides being pests?
Well, I'll tell you something as a consumer that I would feel subliminally, maybe on a subconscious level. Now, number one, I want to tell you folks that can't see this on the podcast, these bugs aren't itty bitty. They're huge. If I saw a rat that big walking down the road, I'd be scared to death. That is and that spider is bigger than me on, size wise on the side of this truck. I mean, whoever did the application of this outrageous truck really got some good photos, and they're large. And I mean, you could be 100 yards away and identify these bugs.
And we had to work hard to get this way. But here's the thing. Most people, the vast majority of people aren't bug experts. But everybody knows a rat when they see it. Everybody knows a black widow spider when they see it. Everybody knows a wasp when they see it. Everybody knows a cockroach when they see it. And everybody knows a mosquito when they see it. So we wanted pests that everybody could identify instantly. And what else do all of these things have in common, Mike? Well, they have in common that they're all dangerous.
Well, they're pests, but I'll tell you something that I've learned from setting up advertising for our clients. These are money-making problems that the world wants to go away from their home. Nobody wants these things. They don't want a yellow jacket nest building on their porch, flying out and stinging. I have learned this much. The yellow jackets are in the ground. They go down in holes or find holes in the ground to build their nests. Because I remember years ago, I mowed over one and they come flying out of there and stung the hell out of me just because I ran my lawnmower over a hole. So, but then what makes the paper nest that start forming on your mud daubers and hornets and all those kinds of nests?
Paper wasp, hornet. Somebody went on one of the pest control groups I'm in a while back, posted a thing about yellow jackets and their life cycle. They all die except the queens, and then the queens burrow in the ground and they overwinter, and then next spring they start building a new nest. And by the end of the summer, it's a big nest with thousands of yellow jackets in it. Somebody was talking about where the queens, how do they choose where they're going to build that nest? And I wrote on there, I said, they study your lawnmower patterns in order to figure out where to put that nest where you'll be sure to run over them next year. But you talk about the subliminal, subconscious. Okay, buying decisions, folks, are made in the subconscious mind. They are not made in the conscious mind, okay? They take place in the subconscious mind. So sometimes you buy something, you decide you want to buy that, but you really don't know why you want to buy it. You may think you do, but sometimes you buy something for reasons that are unknown to you, but your subconscious mind knows it made a decision based on something specific. And so when a truck goes by and somebody says that truck went by and it had some bugs on it, okay, had some bugs on it. But if it goes by with bugs that you know and you identify as being dangerous and posing a hazard to your health, and that bugs or a rat that you would be horrified if one got in your home, your subconscious mind also registers that. So you get a different response if the people can recognize those bugs. If you had a truck that went by with ladybugs on it and a praying mantis and a butterfly and things like that, it wouldn't create any type of negative response or
people like those insects. Even
people like those insects and they're beneficial. I know of a pest control company that's a great big old ladybug on the side of the vehicle. Huge, beautiful looking giant ladybug on the side. There's one that has a picture of a mouse on it that looks like Mickey Mouse, and he's smiling and waving at people.
Yeah,
it looks like something that you want to feed, not something that you want to kill. Okay, right. So we were very careful about which insects and that rat that we put on this vehicle. And if you notice, it doesn't show up real good in this picture, but the rat looks like it's torn a hole from the inside of the truck and it's coming out.
Right.
Now, the colors, very careful to choose those because there's a lot of contrast there. And you notice the word pest control doesn't have two colors involved in it. It's on a white background with black letters, which is what we're programmed to read, is black letters on all books, newspapers, the Bible, everything you read is black letters on a black colors on a white background. We're programmed to absorb that. And from pest control, like I say, you could read that from across the road. From across a football field. Now, can you show us the back of the vehicle, Mike?
No, I don't have a picture of that. But one of the things, two of the points that I want to say that are obvious to me is large, easy to read lettering, what's called non-serif fonts. In other words, not fancy fonts. I've seen signage that had all these really squiggly, pretty artistic looking lettering, and you can't read it at a glance. But I mean, when it is bold and big, and it's black on white, and the other thing that is, the phone number is easy to read, the website is easy to read, and then you've also got here free stuff. You know what we used to say? One of the most powerful words in marketing is the word free.
Yeah, it is the number one response generating word in the English language is the word free. While we're talking, I'm looking for something, Mike, that I'm going to send to you, and maybe you can post it while we're doing this because I want to show.
Well, we have several examples. I'm going to put up another client here. You remember that was Mark down in Macon, and he had just wrapped his truck, and you told him to do it again, and he was, I don't want to do that, and you made him do it anyway, and then he admitted that it paid for itself many, many, many times over.
Many times.
Yeah. So at any rate, so I'll go here and check for this thing that you want to send to me. You got to remember, we got to talk about it since we're doing podcasts.
I know. Well, that's people that watch it streaming they'll have to go back and watch it streaming to see this stuff.
Yeah. Well, it is also another.
This was Eric. Now, and I want to tell you something, another story about this truck that I just sent you. If you can pull it up,
I'm working on it.
I think let me get myself back on the screen here.
All right. I got it. I'll bring it up here in a second. But I was just going to say that we had one person who said, I don't want to go in a neighborhood with something like that because the customer's going to get freaked out that the neighbors know he has pest control, and you can't. That's probably never happened. If it's
never happened. I've been in the business 51 years, and I've serviced homes in my vehicle that when I owned my own business for 18 years, and one that had bugs and had the word exterminating on the side, and never once ever in my life did I have a customer say, I don't want you to park that truck in my yard. And I asked my clients about it, and none of them have ever said, have told me that they've ever had a customer tell them they didn't want their truck parked there. Yeah. And so when people say, "Oh, my customers wouldn't like that," well, you're just wrong about that. They don't care.
Well, we covered that. So here's the truck you just sent me.
Okay. Now that's an outrageous truck. With my, Eric, he was out in Southern California in Hollywood, basically. He was my client a few years back, and he was actually a one-man operator at the time. His dad was retiring, and Eric was taking over his dad's business. His dad was helping him some, trying to get him going. But now, you'll see we got like with a spider on the front, we got a tarantula, we got cockroaches, and we actually did a little more editing of this. This is not the final edit, but it'll give you the gist of it here. His company name was Extermination, Early Bird Extermination. And I talked to him about that a little bit. I said, I think pest control, I said, look, you're in Southern California. You service Hollywood. And that is there's more bunny huggers there than there is anywhere. It's the biggest bunny hugging state, and Hollywood is the biggest bunny hugging area of that state. And I said, I said, I'm just cautioning you to put the word extermination on your truck, because I'd probably do it, but I said, I don't want you to do it and have somebody, pick at you or something. I said, I would go with pest control. He said, well, I can't, because there's another company out here that's with the same name that's pest control. So he said, I can't, but he said, I want to go with extermination. I said, okay, let's go with it. So we went with extermination, and I talked with him. After he got this done, not long after that, his coaching time was up, and so but I called to check on him from time to time after that, and I called, and his wife, who answered the phone for him, I said, how's the new vehicle working out? She said, it's working out great. I said, have you had any negative comments on the vehicle? She said, no, we haven't had a single negative comment, but we get a lot of positive comments on it. And she said, Eric's father won't drive it. I said, why not? She said, well, he drove it the first couple of days after we got it. And he said, everywhere he stopped, at a stop sign or at a traffic light, he looked around, and he said, everybody was staring at the truck. And it made him really uncomfortable. So he doesn't like driving it. He was old school, and so I'm think about that now. Everybody's staring at your truck, so you don't like that. I would love to have a truck that everybody stared at, or a sign that everybody stared at. And she said they hadn't gotten one single negative response. And so when you see that truck going down the road, you'll always remember it. If you see it again, you will immediately say, that's the truck I saw before. Your brain will take a photo of this, and it's outrageous. So that's enough about vehicles. But incidentally, the one you showed before, Mike, Michael's truck, the red and black truck, he entered that in the PCT magazine's annual vehicle design contest, and it won runner-up. So that one, it won first runner-up, I think, in the contest that year. It's been a few years back, but I wish you could see the back of it, because he was a fireman, and the back of it looks almost like a rescue truck. It's got lights, work lights on it, and it looks great. Great message. But if you just have a plain truck, your name on it, and going down, and there's nothing eye-catching about it, there's nothing that jumps out and grabs you, people aren't going to remember your vehicle. And it's not going to be effective in getting you new customers. And even if you see, we had a guy in my Rotary Club one time that had a sign company. And his truck was one of the most outrageous trucks I've ever seen. But the graphics totally obliterated the text. He had text on there with the name of his company, phone number, that you couldn't read any of it. because the graphics were so outrageous that they obliterated the message. They buried the message. You couldn't read it. And, when a vehicle goes by, you just got a few seconds to read what it says. So if you go back to Michael's truck now, you'll see that even if that truck goes down the road, it's very plain to see the graphics on that. I mean, the text on that truck. The graphics don't interfere with the text one bit. You can read that phone number clearly. You can read the words pest control clearly, and his name is company, Peskies. Nobody cares about that, so we made it small. Free estimates, free consultation, and you see that his URL, Peskies Pest Control, is not all the same font. If it's all the same font, you can't read it. So you got to make the words, put the capital letters where they belong. You have no problem reading that PeskiesPestControl.com. But if they were all caps or all lowercase, you couldn't read it at all. It would make no sense to you. A lot of people make that mistake. But so we're talking about outrageous vehicles, Mike, but outrageous presentations, outrageous guarantees, outrageous offers. Just go over the top with what you. I talked to a client the other day about telling people that you're available to them. I said, now, when people want to call you, what do they call you on? He said, well, they call me on my cell phone. He said, sometimes I direct it to my wife if she's answering the phone, but he said, I have it with me all the time. So in other words, they're calling you on your cell phone. He said, that's right. I said, so we're going to start telling people, you can call me on my personal cell phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you ever have a question or problem that you need to talk with me about. He said, what, 24 hours a day, 7 days? I said, yes. I said, they're not going to call you at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. They're not going to call you any time other than what they would call you right now. If a problem comes up, they're going to call you, but they're up during the day like you are, and they're asleep at night like you are. So it won't change the number of telephone calls that you get by making that outrageous statement. You're going to have my personal telephone number, and you're welcome to call me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even if I'm on vacation. If it's important enough for you to call me, it's important enough for me to speak with you. That's a bold promise. That's an outrageous statement for most home service businesses or for any business, but it's very powerful. It's so over the top compared to what other people offer. It's not going to change the number of phone calls you get at all. So you be outrageous in everything you do, And it will yield you outrageous results, just like it does with the vehicles.
What I was going to say, Hal, we spent a lot of time on vehicles today, which is a great example, but I'm sure there are other things. So I think we ought to do another podcast on outrageous ideas, different things you can do. You did that years ago. You talked about the time you put a snake under somebody's house. That was outrageous.
Yeah.
So why don't we come up with a top 10 outrageous list, and we'll do that in a future podcast. But the theme of today started with that rolling billboard, your truck, and we've got example and proof that it works. And if you want to know more about this stuff, you need to call Hal at 770-993-0004 and set up a time to just go over your business with him. If you got any questions about if you want to grow your business, call Hal. And if you want to talk about your online marketing and your online presence and what the local big three is, give me a call at 770-826-3662. But I was recommending that maybe we ought to break this down.
Why did you say yours is 770 and you said mine is 770?
I wanted to set some differentiation.
You know how easy I am to confuse. You're just doing that on purpose.
Yes, it is on purpose. So be sure to get Hal's book. My goodness, what a wonderful thing. It's called How to Grow a Pest Control Business.com. It doesn't cost anything other than you putting in your name and email address. And we recommend you subscribe to all our free stuff because it works, folks. It's just flat out works. Any closing comments there, Mr. Coleman?
Well, be outrageous. And if you're interested in working with Mike and I, we are so easy to work with. And you can go and read my testimonials at pestcontrolmarketer.com. Call my clients, current and former clients. There's probably over 50 of them on there with their phone numbers. Check them out. They'll tell you what it's like to work with us, and you're going to get outrageous results on a lot of things. If you want your business to grow and you want to go from having a 10 or 11 or 12 hour a day job that you're running by yourself, if you want to turn it into a business and become a businessman or woman and grow a business that builds you a retirement, and someday you get a 6 or 7 figure check written to you, probably a 7-figure check after a few years. We've done that for so many clients, and the common thing that I hear from them is the best thing that ever happened to me was the day I met you, started working with you. Because if it wasn't for you, I'd still be doing what I was doing back then. Because they said I just didn't have a clue how to do this, so we would love to help you. That's what we're here for. Nothing better than getting a new testimonial from a client that tells all the great things that we've been able to do for them. And so we help them change their lives, really, because, a lot of money will change your life. So give us a call. Take us up on our free offer. Spend an hour with us. You'll get a better idea of what we do, and that certainly won't cost you anything. And you'll come away with some great insights on how to turn your business around and get it growing. It's all free. So give us a call, folks.
All right, my friend. Have a great day.
And
Hal Coleman has been active in the pest control industry for over 40 years, including owning and operating his own successful pest control business for 18 years. He now devotes his time to helping other PCOs and other WCOs double, triple, and even quadruple their businesses faster than they ever imagined. Be sure to check out his website, pestcontrolmarketer.com. For more information about Hal's coaching program, you can reach him at 770-993-0004 or email him hal@halcoleman.com. Mike Stewart is known as the Internet audio and video guy. Since the birth of the Internet, Mike has been showing small business owners how to get more new customers, increase their sales, and grow their businesses online using audio and video, now with iPhones and Android phones. For more information about Mike's coaching program and his online training courses, visit MikeStewartCoaching.com or email him mike@internetaudioguide.com.
Google Pest Control Marketer. Grow your business like never before. Call 770-993-0004.